You must have wondered what's the difference between two very similar terminologies. For example, miracles and magic. Many a prophet or messenger we find as we read about their history have been given certain gifts from God at particular instances. We call these miracles. For example, the parting of the sea of Musa, or when his staff turned to a snake. At the same time, we find that there are people, common people today, who have the ability to conduct illusions, some even going as far as witchcraft. What's the difference between a miracle and an illusion or magic? I'd like to share a few points with you. A miracle is something that is given by God to bring about a challenge to the people who are going to be observing it. As I mentioned, the parting of the sea, or take for example, when the magicians of the Pharaoh came in front of Musa, they turned their staffs or their ropes into snakes. But what they saw Musa accomplishing was something that they attested to as not magic or an illusion, but something that was divine that they could not live up to. It was a challenge that Musa gave them by throwing his staff on the ground, and a challenge which defeated them. On the flip side, we have magic or illusions, which simply try to deceive people's minds. Magic has to be learnt, whereas when you come to miracles, these are not things that are learnt. They are divine gifts that Allah gives in order to establish the prophethood or the divinity of somebody He has selected. There are a few differences between miracles and magic. I'd like to mention 5 of them. One, as I mentioned previously, is that magic has to be learnt, it has to be taught, whereas miracles are quite the opposite. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't teach a prophet how to conduct a miracle. Rather, He gives them a command, and as soon as they adhere to His command, this miracle occurs. Secondly, every miracle is a challenge to the people of its time in order to establish the proof of God on earth. For example, the Quran is quite clear. It being a miracle, Allah mentions within it that He challenges people to bring a chapter which is as good as one of the chapters of the Holy Quran. The third difference between miracles and magic is that a miracle cannot be overpowered. Whereas when you come to an illusion or magic, you might find somebody who is a better magician that can do a sleight of hand, for example, in a much better method to deceive people in a much quicker fashion. However, when it comes to a miracle, there is nothing else that can challenge it, nothing else that can overpower it. The fourth difference is that miracles are not limited. Whereas magic is limited to certain elements, miracles are not limited by any means. For example, Isa alayhi salam was able to revive people from the dead. For example, Isa was born without a father. These are miracles in that magicians cannot comprehend, neither can they act upon such actions. The final difference is that miracles call towards divine unity and morality, whereas magic tends to be used to harm people or to deceive people. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it clear that an individual who acts upon magic, as mentioned in the Quran, is just like a kafir, an unbeliever.